Welcome back to another episode of the one and only Public Health Insight Podcast. And I have my friend back after months of text communication and the occasional calls, not being on the podcast as much anymore. I have the pleasure of being joined by the one and only LaShawn Benedict. LaShawn.
What's up? What's up?
What you been up to, man? It's been a rare sighting on the podcast the last couple months. What's up?
Okay. Life happens. Get a new job, responsibilities. That's why it's important to have people that could bring you along like Gordon, keeping the podcast alive.
So, can you tell the people what I did to get you on the podcast for this one?
What did you do? You told me to wake up at 9 a.m. That's what you told me to do. That wasn't a facilitating factor.
And I know it's one of your favorite topics. Yeah.
Oh, is it now?
We're super into
What's the topic?
Helping people with career development, getting the jobs that they want. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then in the other episode, we'll talk about some pet peeves around, interviews, applying the jobs, and really, really, really obvious reasons why people screw themselves out of a potential job opportunity. And I know you have a lot to say on that.
Maybe that's where I was. I was interviewing people.
You have a lot to say.
Have a lot of fun, juicy stories.
Lots of nuggets to share. So before we get to that one, though, we're going to talk about a very frequently requested topic, being job searching. You're listening to the Public Health Insight Podcast, your go-to space for all things public health and global health, from the Sustainable Development Goals to the social determinants of health, as well as interesting dialogues about the diverse career opportunities that exist in these fields. Remember to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so other people like you can benefit from our content. It's the summertime
Job searching.
in Canada anyways. If you're in Australia, obviously a different season. And folks are finishing up school, whether it's undergrad or whether it's a master's program. And the summer can be a weird time for job postings and job opportunities. And a lot of times people will say, hey, I can't find anything. There's no jobs out there. But I think we both frequently beg to differ. And in this episode, we're going to highlight one specific method tried and tested by yours truly that pretty much never fails when you're looking for specific job opportunities.
Okay.
You want to hear about it? I know you do your own thing. You're a little bit of a wild card yourself. So I know you probably don't follow this method.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's hear it. We're always open.
Gotta be open. Okay. So let's start off by saying this. There's many different public health organizations or organizations that hire public health professionals. Many of them call the same thing a different title. So there's really no standardized job title unless you're looking at epidemiologist, public health nurse, and those sorts of things. There's new work emerging in public health, and as a result, people make up random sounding titles that may not even have anything to do with the actual thing that you're going to do. Okay? So that makes it even more difficult to find stuff. And even more difficult when you tell someone, hey, I'm going to do public health. What is that? What roles are you going to do? And you're like, I don't know. This is precisely why. So we're going to break down some tips that you can use to be able to unearth some real gems in the job market. Okay? You ready?
Okay.
All right.
Let's go. You're teasing the people.
You better
Let's
deliver,
hear
right? It better be good. All right.
Okay.
So, So in a given job, I think just in the way job titles are framed, right? So like we were talking about it off here, LaShawn, so you'll have a job title. It'll usually have multiple components to it. So it'll have like a topic area. So substance use, injury prevention, chronic diseases, something of that sort, right?
Yep. Prevention and intervention.
Prevention and
anything.
intervention, right. And then it will have sort of a functional part of the job title, which I call the suffix,
Okay.
right? So that suffix can look like a variety of different ways, where you will see assistant, analyst, specialist, coordinator, officer, right? Manager, right? If you're looking at leadership positions. So what you end up having, if you kind of do synonyms for all those things, is like endless combinations of job postings that you can search for. And this is important because when folks look for jobs, you look at the public health jobs Google. That can find a significant amount of jobs for you, but you're missing out a big piece of the pie if you do that, right?
I do that sometimes just to see what's up. Quick scan of the environment.
Quick scan, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, just to see what's up.
Yeah. But when you do that, you miss job postings that don't explicitly use the word public health. And some organizations don't, right? So if you're going to look at working at Crohn's Society or Alzheimer's Society, they're not really calling themselves a public health organization necessarily. And then if you search for that in the title, you miss out on those things. So that's
and it's even a step further too. It's sometimes you're not even given any indication of health in the title itself.
Health at all.
Oftentimes it could be something very, very generic, like consultant.
Oh, we'll get into that one too.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So, and it's more so in the actual job description that you'll find out the specifics of what you're going to be doing and potential populations you'll be working with and topic areas. So it's a bit tricky in that way. And there's a lot. You'd be surprised how many generic job titles there are.
Yeah,
in that way.
For sure. And in line with what you said too, like other ways public health might get referred to is like community health. Maybe you'll look for key terms. Yeah, and you look for key terms like well-being or wellness or something of that sort to arrive at that. Mm-hmm. So when you put them together, right, you have substance use coordinator, right? You have substance use specialist, substance use analyst. And then just with the one topic area, you're able to find 20 plus different layers of what an organization might refer to as the job posting. And then even substance use, if you look at the synonyms or any kind of related words.
Harm reduction.
There we go.
Safe consumption, right.
Then you switch out those. And so anyway, what we're getting at here is like you can invent the same way you can create what you think are original job postings or job titles in your mind is the same process that an employer might go through when they're making that title.
So interesting, Gordon. It just made me think, have you ever just, keeping the structure in mind, so you have the topic area and then that functional component, oftentimes people can get stuck with the nuances, the synonyms, etc. Have you ever just plugged it into ChatGPT to find a list of synonyms? Is that helpful?
I actually never tried that.
I mean, I feel like, obviously it might give some trash out.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some that you could pick and choose strategically as well.
And it's important though, because if you're having difficulty, like there's sometimes where you touched on, sometimes you do an environmental scan using the most generic term ever, public health jobs. Yeah. Sometimes you'll find a lot with just by doing that. But then sometimes where it's the summertime or times where things are a bit slower and things are harder to find, then you get a little bit more creative in how you find things. And that makes sense.
Yeah. And again, that generic way kind of works. But when I've done it in the past, you really get those maybe more formal titles like public health inspector, public health nurse. And it hides a bit of those ones that you may be looking for if you don't fall into those categories. So, yeah, good point.
So here's the thing, though.
Okay.
At the risk of contradicting myself, there's also another way to do it, but follow the same structure. Sometimes it's not an actual topic area. It's a little bit more general. where you look for
Right.
words like, I think you touched on consultant, which can often stand
Yeah.
alone, but can often be a suffix
Or lead.
or right lead. But in terms of the first part, you can also get like program something, project
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
program officer, program
Program
consultant,
coordinator.
project coordinator,
Program assistant.
program assistant, right? So
Program analyst.
program analyst, right? So there's many different ways you can slice it and play around with all of these. What I do is like get everything and I actually make an Excel sheet and plug them all in.
Try
And
hard.
then you can search them. But there's a cool thing I discovered yesterday when I was thinking about this.
Okay, what is it?
You know when you do those, what's it called, Boolean search terms?
What did you just say?
You know that you're a researcher. You know that.
Boolean?
Yeah, Boolean.
I don't know if you're saying it right.
Bolean. You know when you do the and or thing?
Oh, it's like Boolean.
Boolean.
I think. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know when
yeah.
you're researching for
I know
articles?
what you're talking about now.
It works in Google too.
Right, it does.
So if
It
you-
does. And some other engines
Yeah,
as well.
some other engines too. Yeah, and this strategy works if you're going to look at Indeed or any other job search engine.
Sorry, backtrack. How do you say Boolean?
Boolean?
Give me a sec.
We're looking it up right now.
How to pronounce.
I think it might be Boolean or Boolean.
Okay, we're about to find out. Boolean. Oh, shoot, you're right.
Boolean or
My
Boolean?
bad, my bad. Boolean.
Boolean. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let's try it again. It says Boolean here.
All right.
So
Boolean. We're going to it's 2 O's or 1 O?
yeah, it is.
Okay, so
I always
Boolean.
thought it was Boolean.
No,
Anyways.
Boolean. Like Julian, but Boolean.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Guess I'm not a good researcher.
Nah, you know how to do your stuff. But
Okay.
so I would do a tedious undertaking of like actually doing them one by one.
Yeah.
But you can actually do like a Boolean strategy where you do the bracket and or thing.
And or not.
Right. And then just
Yeah.
kind of let Google go to work or let Indeed go to work or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the other search engines that you might use. LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn it works for as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can kind of,
Yeah.
if you have
Sometimes you could use pluses.
pluses, right? So if you have an
Yeah.
idea of what you want to do, those are some good strategies to try.
So can you give us an example of what you would potentially type in one of these search engines? Like just to be very clear.
With the Boolean.
With the Boolean.
Boolean. So for Boolean, if you're not really sure of a specific topic area, because those ones can get a little bit more challenging, I must admit, and you're open to where you have a broad interest, but you have a set of skills that are transferable,
Yeah.
then we're gonna go the route that I mentioned last with the program assistant, program consultant, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So in that case, for your Boolean search strategy for your job, you're going to do program assistant or program consultant or project coordinator or project assistant and so on and so forth. And then you're going to close, those will all be in a bracket.
Yeah.
And then you're going to type and you're going to have another bracket, and then you might use words like public health, well-being, community.
Right.
And then it should kind of give you and then job postings, maybe, and then job, so that Google knows you're referring to jobs, not like articles on what these different things are. And then that should return some very specific results for you if those things currently exist. So try it, let us know.
Yeah, and honestly, y'all, sometimes, and I'm just speaking from my experience doing research here, and this is kind of bringing a lot of bad memories of like literature reviews and literature scans and systematic reviews of me using these Boolean operators like and or not, and then adding potential years to that to find specific articles. But the more specific you get, the less you yield, right?
For sure.
So if you keep it a bit more general, sometimes it might be more effective, but just tweak around and play around with it. If you enter a couple of terms and you find that there's 1,000 outcomes, what's it called?
Results.
Thank you. If there's 1,000 results, maybe you want to tweak it a bit more and make it more specific. Add another term, search, see where it lands, and then play around. It's about having fun with it.
Have fun.
It's your little toolkit.
Yeah. And a last bonus tip I'll add here is, you know how for big organizations, LaShawn, a lot of times if you don't go to their career pages directly, the jobs aren't indexed. Because it's like, it's in like it's not an intranet site that is posted in, but
Almost like it though.
it's almost like it where Google doesn't like pull from it, or the job search engines, the API or the crawlers don't find them. Yep. So a way to diversify your strategy too is to have an idea of different organizations you might be interested in, and then either regularly check their websites, their career pages. Some of them have an option where you can actually get notifications for all or specific jobs that you're looking for too. So you'll get a notification to your email that something new has been posted that you might be interested in.
And another bonus tip, and I wonder if this is going to work, but if you have a particular level of education and you want to find a job at that level, perhaps if you want to add master's level or a bachelor's level or a specific keyword to differentiate specific jobs, that might also be a useful endeavor.
Okay. You know what's kind of cool too? Do you ever notice when you look for stuff in LinkedIn, they think you're interested in it, and then they just kind of email you, whether it's board of director positions or... So if you do this strategy in LinkedIn might get the understanding that, hey, this person really wants a project consultant.
LinkedIn does that.
And then it just keeps feeding you things that it finds posted on LinkedIn. So why not have LinkedIn work for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what I will say to that, though, is sometimes when jobs and opportunities are posted on LinkedIn, it's very easy to apply to those jobs and click submit my LinkedIn application or whatever. Sometimes that's not the best strategy. Sometimes it's actually better to click on the job, maybe find it on the parent site and apply directly and follow the instructions on there. Sometimes it says, hey, email this email to HR directly. Because sometimes you find that people just are very happy-go-lucky with clicking the apply through LinkedIn button, and it doesn't really involve sending a detailed cover letter, resume, etc. Sometimes it does, but you might want to check both out to see what it says on the parent website too.
Yeah, I agree. I never apply on LinkedIn unless there is very rare cases where that's the only place it's posted. Yeah, and then you can do it like that.
And don't be intimidated by the stats that LinkedIn job opportunity is showing. Sometimes it says 1,000 people applied. 500 of them were senior managers and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, don't worry too much about that. Yeah. Just do what you have to do.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Just to recap, you can make your own job titles. You can make stuff up because great minds think alike. It's likely that if you make something up, that's actually a real thing in the job posting world. So follow those tips. Remember the topic or the general area as well as the kind of functional part of the role that we talked about. Put those two things together and see what happens. Good luck in your job search.
Peace.
This show was edited by me, Gordon Thane, with additional editing from LaShawn Benedict. Sound design and mixing by myself and LaShawn Benedict. The original music from The Music Room, composed by Tom Fox, licensed from Johnny Harris. The cover art designed for our show by LaShawn Benedict. The Public Health Insight Podcast is produced by PHI Media. Thank you for listening to the Public Health Insight Podcast, your go-to space for informative conversations, inspiring community action. If you enjoy our podcast, be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. See you in the next one.